Good evening, classmates. My name is Terrell Hendon, and this assignment was created to fulfill the Module 5 requirements for the RSH 916 Problem-Based Research in Action course taught by Dr. Mangum. I want to start my presentation by providing a brief background about the context for my research. Examining school attendance is crucial for researchers because the findings can shed light on various aspects about the quality of education that learners are receiving, inclusive of the effectiveness of teaching models, the impact of socio-economic factors on learning, and the overall health and well-being of our students. While some may perceive that the learners are truant because of a lack of engagement, reality shows that it could be a number of other variables that are preventing them. With this in mind, I am aware that conducting research about attendance can help school leaders identify patterns, challenges, and opportunities to help improve educational outcomes and support students in their academic journey. In a research study conducted by Farrell et al., the author actually cited that many urban high schools that serve low-income families have below average attendance rates, which indicate that a fewer number of them are prepared to matriculate into college, as well as career opportunities. As a practicing attendance officer, I have to admit that I am very passionate about reducing these barriers that lead to chronic absences and truancies. My views are rooted in the assumption rendered by Farrell et al. That if students are not in class or actually in the building to learn, it makes it difficult for the institutions to accomplish the mission of teaching and learning. In the course textbook, Stringer and Aragón suggest that research issues are often identified by people in their own professional, social, and community lives. The author suggests that these issues are deep-seated and complex issues that have the propensity to inhibit the researcher's ability to provide effective services or to attain the outcomes they desire. Furthermore, Stringer and Aragón, 2021, they cited that actual researchers believe that learning is achieved from the process of trying to change things. In a research study conducted by Peak in 2009, the author suggested that if schools do not address truancy, it could impact their potential to make what we call annual yearly progress. Short is called AYP, or it could be what we call the school's report card grade. The underlying assumption is that using principles of action research, individuals can gain a better understanding of the world around them simply by interacting with it. One of the challenges to resolving the issues of chronic absences and truancy is rooted in the premise that students indicate or will tell us a host of complex barriers to attendance. While I may not have the end-all solution that can address all the barriers, I would like to note that I do believe that how educators or an individual perceives the issue could determine the level of engagement that they'll make to try to resolve. Colorado State University in 2017, they affirmed my assertion by citing that behaviorist considers perception, which is a stimulus, and the corresponding action, which is a response, to be directly related and sequentially linked. Colorado State University also suggested that once the association is learned, the researcher will see that one always seems to lead to the other. So to this regard, I would like to conduct an action research project that examines if one's views of classroom attendance truly influences the corrective actions or corrective approaches that that person will take to address truancy. By exploring this topic, my aim is to determine if individuals who believe that attendance matters will actually invest a greater amount of time in reducing the chronic absences compared to those who do not believe that classroom attendance is important. My assumption is that no matter how great the intervention is that we choose to implement, if stakeholders do not see the relevance of attending school regularly, they may not fully engage in trying to support truancy intervention. Going back to our course textbook, Stringer and Aragón cited the intent of action research is to increase one's understanding of knowledge about an issue and setting up an appropriate research study that delineates the process of investigation. So to conduct my research, I believe it will require the involvement of teachers and administrators. Teachers would be involved because accurate data from teachers is the primary source of information for the study. Administrators will be considered because they actually have to be on board to ensure compliance with collecting the data. So unfortunately, not all teachers believe that classroom attendance is vital to instruction. So therefore, one of the challenges that I believe I would need to consider is whether or not participants would feel comfortable sharing their views about classroom attendance candidly. So aligning with the principles illustrated by Stringer and Aragón in 2021, it is important that, I believe it's important that I create a study environment that allows participants to feel comfortable discussing the deeply challenging and oftentimes traumatic issues that may be presented in the experiences of themselves or their students. One way to address this issue is to grant participants, and I have trouble pronouncing these words, let them say their words anonymously, or let them share candidly and without fear that they'll be exposed. So past researchers have shown that participants can be referred to by identifying numbers such as respondent number 1, 2, or 3. So therefore, the teacher can speak to me truthfully without any type of retribution of their thoughts, because I really want to hear their thoughts truthfully. So if my research is successful, I hope that I can help school leaders appreciate the need to build the capacity around these initiatives before trying to implement them. Additionally, I do hope to help administrators understand the correlation. If there is a correlation, I hope to help administrators understand the correlation between acceptance with an initiative and compliance with an initiative. Just because I agree to do it doesn't mean I'm going to do it with fidelity. Questions in the study that I would consider would include asking participants their views on compulsory attendance and the degree at which they will support an initiative that actually enforces it. The information will be gathered using a Google questionnaire as a screener, and to identify a mixture of participants with varying views on compulsory attendance. The questionnaire would be constructed using a rating scale where participants could respond with answers such as unlikely, unlikely to comply, all the way to a range of very likely to comply, and meaning that they would comply with the attendance initiative if implemented. So as it relates to measuring effectiveness, I would use principles. I will probably use triangulation and validation to try to determine the reliability of the information that the participants give me, to make sure that what they're saying actually matches what I see. So for example, since I would be asking all participants the same question, I would try to triangulate the data to see, did participant 1 give me something that's similar, and if there's any sort of theme that I can identify from the information that they gave me. Once I've done that, I believe I would probably do some sort of research triangulation to maybe let another researcher look at what I think my findings are, to see if they get those similar views or perspectives from what I saw. So that is my research in a nutshell. And I have placed my references at the bottom so that you can see that. Again, my name is Jarrell Hendon, and thank you all so much for listening to my presentation. Have a great evening.